Alright, here we go. The restarted version of Game 1 in this all-important clash between ByT, the Spanish clan, and BF, the German clan. This is the final game of their round-robin group stage to qualify for the knockout rounds of RTS League Season 39. And it's nicely poised because my understanding of this situation is that anything other than a 2-0 victory in favour of ByT will see the German clan progress to the next stage, eliminating ByT in the process. However, if ByT win 2-0, then we will have to have a Game 3 blind random decider to decide which of these two clans actually goes to the next stage. So lots of interesting permutations here. Well, perhaps not that many, but certainly it's on a knife edge for ByT. They are on the verge of being eliminated at every point, at every stage during this evening's games. For those of you who aren't familiar with RTS League, it's a team game league which runs for both Age of Empires 2, the Conquerors, and Age of Mythology, the Titans expansion, I think it's called. AOT, and it's, well, the AOC version is in its 39th season now, so it's been running for flipping ages, and has witnessed a hell of a lot of good matches and tournaments down the years. Lots of famous players and clans, and in recent years there have been teams like Lords of Skulls, CZ, NC, those guys doing really well and participating, getting to the later stages. It has to be clans. You can't just form a team of some random people who just decided to make friends the previous day. So it does foster a sense of clans playing together and competing together over a period of time on Vubli, which is really cool. There's a lot for the vibrance of clans on Vubli in general, that they have this thing that happens about twice a year for them to compete in. But yeah, enough of the backstory. Let's focus in on the map itself. We've got migration here, Black Forest's home map, as I mentioned before. We've just been watching Poxo here in the green colour, luring in deer with his scout, and we just saw a restart of this game because BFJ squared had a trapped deer, and that's super important because you can see that these migration islands are lacking in food, and chief amongst them, what they are lacking is boars, so the deer become all important to achieve good up times, especially if you're on a flank that might put you sort of close to your enemy. Quite often on migration, the flanks still have a long distance around the central island to go, so the gallery rush distance is extended a bit, but we do see on, is it this flank? Actually no, this one has that slightly longer distance to go around the island as well, although it's not extending the travel time that much. So especially if you're flank, having a trapped deer could really cost you, especially if you spawn with 3 deer as they did last time rather than 4 deer as they do this time. Generally the pockets will look to the fish boom it up quite a bit. I'm just now noticing that the Germans have 2 Vikings. Why did they have 2 Vikings? I feel like I should be messaging one of the players at this point, because that surely cannot be allowed. Okay, apparently it is. Apparently you can choose to have 2 Viking players and not have to pick all 3 different civs, which is unusual, and I don't think I've seen a tournament which actually allows that. So obviously what you lose on in terms of team bonuses, having an extra team bonus, you gain in the fact that the Vikings in just a pitched water battle are clearly the #1 civ. So you have to think that BF are going for a very water-based approach here. Obviously the other civ that the ByT team chose in lieu of a double Viking Japanese, incredible water sieve as well, especially if they end up landing in the pocket position and can take advantage of a good fish boom, but that is not the case here. The Japanese player in blue, Monemon, is actually on the flank. So it is sort of southeast versus northwest. Monemon, Japanese, blue, right flank. He's still looking to do a pretty big fish boom. It is very typical in migration. Especially in a team game, you won't see every player rushing up to the fuselage, but equally in 1v1, see lots of fish booming going on and not such fast, blazingly fast rushes as in or on maps such as Rooster or Islands of Baltic. Pocket, Poxo, Vikings, and Cambridge Persians red flank on the far side. Persians are matched up against Persians here, played by El Quark, purple. He's on his way to the feudal age quite early, and so is the opposite flank for Black Forest clan. Philip HJS playing in yellow as Vikings as well. So it seems a clear difference in strategy here that the ByT team is having its flanks stay around in the Dark Age, go up on a higher population, whereas the Black Forest flanks are rushing more to the feudal age, trying to do a faster galley rush and get over there to attack their opponent's fishing. The only player on the BF team who hasn't clicked up just yet is of course the Pocket, and that's going to be played by, well, it's going to be a Viking player as well. J squared in the teal, rounding out the player lineups. So first players to hit the feudal age have been El Quark in the purple. He's on 3 docks with a builder by the shore. Probably gonna think about throwing up a 4th dock soon, as soon as his economy allows him to get that production going. He's managing to produce from all 3, and looking at his gather points, they are around about here, but he's going to group them up from there and send them to Cambridge, who has moved quite a lot of his fishing right towards the back here. A couple of nice deep fish will keep those fishing ships working in a sheltered and fairly safe position for quite some time to come actually. So with Cambridge going up a bit later and managing to protect his fish like that because El Quark is going towards the north, I think Cambridge has well, he's got a nice little advantage there because he's not going to be too far behind in the galley production. He is up now, and he's managed to go up with lots more fishing ships working in a safe position, and that will probably transfer itself into a faster castle age time for him, assuming the next stage of the game goes okay. He does manage to keep those fishing ships working. Quite laggy in here actually. Not sure why Poxo's doing that thing. Perhaps he's checking if he's still in the game or something. He's on his way to the feudal age now. Gone up on a very high population. Indeed, 47 right now. 2 population ahead of his opposing Pocket, but that's actually a minute difference in uptime. So overall, I feel like he's probably had his structures producing slightly less TC and docks, that is, through the Dark Age, considering there's only 2 population difference with a minute difference in uptime. Yeah, El Quark not managing to achieve too much over at Cambridge's harbour on the bottom side now, and going back to group up with some more reinforcements. When those arrive though, Cambridge will need to make sure he's popped out another round of galleys produced from his own docks, because he's looking slightly light on the numbers front if Quark does come in right now for an engagement, and more of Cambridge's fishing ships are actually now taking the deep fish from a slightly more forward position, so they are exposed to danger and potentially getting sniped down. Neither player choosing to micro this engagement much, and neither of them seemingly fancies it. The numbers are looking fairly even. Fighting close to Cambridge's docks, giving him a defender's advantage, of course. Let's check the far side. See how the numbers are looking as we watch Vikings yellow versus Japanese blue here. This fish boom is going to be insane, but he just needs to protect it. However, with that fishing ship, HP and armor bonus, those Japanese fishing tanks stand a good chance of surviving, and I think Monemon will be up really fast on the top flank for ByT. Still though, it looks like the investment in that many fishing ships for Monemon has seen him be a little bit delayed in military production relative to his opponent. You see Yellow's actually got more galleys here, but he's also streaming them down. Also, the spectator overlay did tell us that a sling was going on, and J squared is actually doing coinage. So let's scroll the overlay. Yeah, it's going to HJS Philip, that is, the yellow player. So kind of explains how he's managed to produce so many galleys, and also click up to the castle age this early after a blazingly fast, well, not blazingly fast, but a fast up time, a grush up time, shall we say. And yeah, even though I said Monemon will be up quite fast, it's still going to be quite delayed relative to his slung opponent that he's playing against. But Poxo will be able to come and help him out. Poxo in the pocket is on his way to the castle age as well, dealing with a few stray galleys from Philip. And with both Monemon and Poxo on the way to the castle age and not being terribly delayed relative to Yellow, Philip HJS, the slung Viking player, I feel as though ByT stand a decent chance of standing up to the sling on water, because ultimately it's just going to be two castle age players against one castle age player who's getting slung. Left hand side, really nothing much happening. Both players being very standoffish, keeping their units in defence, protecting their fishing. Cambridge on his way to the castle age though, and El Quark hasn't managed to click up. So Yellow's up now, and that's forced Blue to retreat. And surprisingly, Blue's actually just chasing down here with a couple of his own galleys, trying to help Poxo out. When there are only a couple of purple galleys here anyway, it feels as though Poxo could probably have dealt with that himself. But I actually quite like the way they're playing it now. They've got Poxo, who obviously was faster up as the pocket, running to intercept Yellow and getting the war galley upgrade, and Blue pulling back not only his galleys but his fishing ships as well. And as soon as Poxo gets a war galley upgrade, which has just kicked in for him, I think these two should be able to take the fight against Yellow. But with Monemon having just hit the castle age, probably quite ideal for them to wait, if they possibly can, until Monemon gets his own war galley upgrade. But I've just noticed on the spec overlay now, Philip HJS has clicked up to the Imperial Age with the continued sling from J squared. Obviously, the fact that you can do such a massive fish boom in the pocket as migration gives you incredible power to sling food to your allies, and that's that's resulted in an amazing Imperial Age click up time for Philip. And these guys need to be careful now. Monemon just blundering into Philip's galleys, and Poxo, not sure if he was initially on patrol, but he's at least formed up to engage. This isn't a favourable fight for them. I think when they were down here, they had the numbers to engage it as soon as Poxo got war galley, but they weren't able to force an engagement with Philip, the yellow player. And now it's just an absolute mess for them. The galleys in disarray. The war galleys and the feudal galleys, that is. Just not synchronised to engage at all. On the left hand side though, looks like there are promising developments for ByT teamers. Cambridge is parked in the harbours of El Quark with war galleys, and El Quark just had to run. It looks like he's lost some fishing ships. There are some on the back, but he hasn't got many. Kind of surprised that Cambridge isn't parking himself in the docks more and trying to take one or two down, considering El Quark was there. He could have just run away as soon as they actually arrived, but not choosing to do that damage. And now, yeah, he's on patrol. It's going to be an interesting fight to see how that goes. Let's just check the right hand side, see what's going on there. And we can see that Philip is actually laying siege to Poxo's shores now. And he's hitting the Imperial Age, so Galleon, Bracer, Chemistry, all that good stuff incoming very shortly. It's difficult to see how they're going to deal with it, the ByT team on the right hand side. Poxo with 24 military, but not presently able to engage Philip, and Monemon with even -1 military for a second there as the spectator overlay just sort of sorts itself out. Is this a mod map? This is Migration. It's the default map within Age of Empires 2, the Conquerors. I don't know if it was in Age of Kings, but it's standard to AFC. So Cambridge, with a little bit of help from Poxo, is driving El Quart back on the left hand side. Poxo is actually all over here, so it's almost as though they're giving up to on the right hand side against Yellow. Philip HCS is now firmly parked galleys all around the shore of Monemon, laying siege to every possible area that villagers could actually take resources from, apart from maybe one villager chopping trees there might be out of range, and a couple of farmers, and that's it. Monemon's in all kinds of trouble. But we can actually see some transition to the land in the middle now. For a moment I almost forgot about the land in the middle. It was casting it like islands or something. But as important as the water is in Migration, of course, in the long run you do need to secure control of the middle, and that does provide the potential for a comeback in any situation in which a team is losing the water, as long as they don't lose the water too soon. The amount of fish on the map, though, in particular, the water does prove to be a really important and potentially deciding factor way into the late game. El Quark actually having to get back onto the transport due to the Spanish players sending 2 scouts and denying a TC there. That's really nice. They killed a Ville there as well. Meanwhile, Poxo's established a foothold there. Cambridge has got a stable up with one unfortunate galley from Philip killing that villager and stopping and getting a second one. But it looks like ByT at least have initiative over the Black Forest clan against taking control of the middle, but they're calling the GG already because they haven't managed to get enough to the middle. It's nowhere near the stage of the game where having some control of the middle can make up for lacking control over the water, because they've still got loads of resources left to take on the home islands. They've lost all their fish, and Monemon can't do anything. He's completely stuck on his island, and unfortunately for the ByT team, their complete destruction on the water has cost them the game, even though it was starting to look promising for them with taking control of the middle compared to purple player here. So fairly quick game there for Migration. We'll back out to